We're looking here at score concession analysis. It is in fact one of the key pieces of analysis I would always have taken, one of the 5 pieces of analysis I would always have taken as a coach or as a statistician, even before I was working off the programme. Score concession analysis works off the basis that every score which your side concedes has had one crux move where your defence has been breached. And what this analysis does is it gives you the opportunity to go back, look at every score forensically and decide which player was actually culpable for that key breach. Essentially, it has 2 end goals. One is it will allow you to recognise which players are conceding, and equally importantly, which players are not conceding a high amount of scores. And also it will give you a look and an insight into what level of culpability, both individually and as a team, are those score concessions coming about. So if we look across here, we're going to see that every score has come about as a result of one of 5 things. Either you've conceded a goal from play, you've conceded a point from play, you've conceded a penalty, you've conceded a 45, or you've conceded a scoreable free. The majority of scores tend to come from points and scoreable frees. So what you'll do is you'll look back on your video and you'll analyse which of these it's been. So let's have a look here. We're looking at the Ulster semi-final here between Sloughnane and Killyclogher, and we'll analyse one of these. I'm actually going to delete it in advance. It's been saved, but I'm going to delete this so we can do it in real time. So we'll play the video. Killyclogher coming out with the ball. It's played in. Now again, we could begin to split hairs at this point. Why is this man free and what not? But as you'll see, he's not the crux breach in the move. You'll see here the ball is played in. This man Bradley has got out in front of his man Carl McCaig, and he's kicked it over. So you're looking at who was the key breach in this move here. It was a number 4. It was Carl McCaig. So you'll go in here. If his name wasn't already there, you'd go into more players and you could choose them from there. But as I've gone back on this game already, and it was one of 2 points he was breached for, we'll go in here. So it was obviously a point, and this allows us now to pick grade 1, grade 2 or grade 3. And essentially what these 3 mean are the following. A grade 1, which we're going to look at in a minute, is a score where there was actually very little the defender could have done about it. A grade 2 is like this, where basically a player was directly taken on and beaten. A grade 3 is where no defender had to be taken on directly and beaten for the score to come about. So this one here was obviously a grade 2. And here you can enter a comment. Now, if you're the manager or the coach, you may not want to do it, but this is something I'd be very cognizant of as a statistician, because this piece of analysis falls into the realm not so much strictly as statistics, but analysis. So if I was working for a team, I'd want them to be able to go back over this game and say, well, are we happy with the analysis the statistician has given us? And you'll be able to look very quickly, and they'll be able to decide very quickly, do they or not. So in this case, I'll just say, his man beat him to the ball and kicked over. You don't have to put anything in there. You can just press OK and nothing will come up. But you'll see now that has been logged. The green mark is over, showing that it's the last piece of information. And you'll see in all of these, this inverted L shape will tell you what the reasoning for the score was if you had put it in the first place. And you'll see over here then, that's been logged over here. KMC, Carl McCaig, 2 points. Both were grade 2s, and his total score concession of the day was no goals and 2 points. And you'll see down the way, it's in order here, and you can see the different players that were breached for scores, and again, in their absence, the ones who weren't. So we'll have a quick look here again, and another one. We're going to look at grade 3, and it's against, we'll look at Brendan Rodgers in the 9th minute. Again, you're going to see here, Rodgers was on the ball, but this it's nothing to do with his possession. Now the ball's being given away, but this player who gives the ball away is not the crux breach, because this situation, from the time Killyclogher get this ball, it's still very defendable. Now, this player was not a direct threat. As you can see, he was running away from goal. Number 2, Sloughnale have extra players behind the ball. So this is a completely avoidable score and a completely avoidable free. So that's a grade 3. Again, we'll delete that there just to give a second look at how you would do this. So Brendan Rodgers now at this point isn't there, so more players. Brendan Rodgers, it's a scoreable free. Important to note that from this point, whether the free is scored or not is statistically insignificant. The foul has been committed in a scoreable position, so therefore it's marked, and I'm calling that a grade 3. Foul the player running away from goal. And there you go. You'll see very quickly here, there's a systematic down below here. And the reason for this, as you'll see, is that you couldn't actually say that any individual player was responsible for this score. You'll see here, Sloughnale have brought a number of players in to press the ball high. It's obviously their policy. As you'll see, the ball comes out. You'll see this number 12 has correctly cut inside the spare man here. And on account of the fact that Sloughnale were defending en masse, this player, if you could see a wider angle, actually came from 20 metres behind the play. He was responsible for another player. It's simply that Sloughnale have brought extra players into a certain area of the field. There's no individual could be blamed for that. However, as we look back, they didn't actually have to take on and beat any player for that score to come about, so therefore it is a grade 3. So we've put into the team list there, and you'll not find in other areas there is a need for it. We've put in the name systematic. It's a grade 3. Before we finish, we'll look at one grade 1. They tend to be quite, I won't say rare, but they're not particularly common. But there is a good example here in the All-Ireland football final between Dublin and Mayo. I have it marked out already. Johnny Cooper in the 36th minute. You'll see here, as the play comes in, Mayo are in possession. And we'll see here, here's Johnny Cooper against Andy Moran inside, just outside the 14. You could argue that this is a grade 2 on the basis that Moran has got out in front of Cooper, but actually anyone who knows anything about defending will know that even if Cooper had been on Moran's shoulder at this point, he'd have to take a step back, because you can't mark a player shoulder to shoulder in that sort of proximity to the ball. It can be hand passed anywhere, inside you. So you have to give credit here that Cooper is probably certainly within a foot of the requisite distance off Moran, but you'll see as the ball is played what happens. There's absolutely no avenue for Cooper to defend here. He has to run into the two players. Obviously deliberately done, but perfectly legal. Moran gets the ball, kicks over, and that's the score. So, going back, the final thing to note in this is in terms of what constitutes a scoreable free. Again, it's up to you to make your own decision on that. The parameters which I work off are that anything from 45 metres or closer is considered a scoreable free. As you do want to account for every score, anything outside that distance, if it's scored, I would mark it. If not, I wouldn't, on the basis that it's probably a bit harsh to mark a player down for committing a scoreable free. If the free was 50 yards out, it's unlikely to be scored. So that's how I would work those parameters. But as I say, at the end of the game, you'll get your readout here, and you'll see the total say for Sloughnale of the day. No goals, 4 points, 5 scoreable frees, which alludes to the fact that 1 was missed because they conceded 8 points on the day. No grade 1s, 5 grade 2s, 4 grade 3s, and a total of 9 scores or scoreable frees conceded on the day.